Raiders played the Chiefs on Black Friday, and there's still a lot of rumors circulating from that football game. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, some must-see rumors that are still circulating around the Raiders' AFC West loss. I get it. Black Friday, you're thinking, hey, man, a lot of good deals out there. One thing that's never comes cheap in the NFL is coming away and getting a win. Now, even though the Raiders did end up losing that football game, I did want to be able to sit up here and talk about some of the good because there is a lot of good that needs to be talked about from that game. Now, I will say this. We continue to get more and more people that watch this show, and you're going to see some just win babies, which means this. If you see a rumor and it says 0 just win babies, tuck rule, tuck that, it means 0% chance of that happening. 1 just win babies, 25% chance. 2 just win babies, 50% chance. 3 just win babies is 75, and 4 means it's 100% going to happen. Believe it, baby. So let's go to the very first one. One player that I have been seeing gets a lot of conversation around him, and he deserves it. Sincere McCormick. Should the Raiders make McCormick the RB1 for the remainder of this season? I'm going to give this one 4 just win babies, and I'm going to say, believe it, baby. The way that this young man has been running the football over the past 2 games, it should fire some people up. Quite frankly, the way that I think that a lot of people envisioned the way that Zamir White was going to be able to tote the rock this season is exactly what McCormick has been able to do. And he's been the best Raiders running back over the past 2 weeks. Zamir White Alexander Mattison are continuously dealing with injuries, so they're down right now. And he's taking advantage of the opportunities that he's getting. On top of that, I know that AP wants the Raiders to be more balanced. And I know that AP wants the Raiders to be able to run the football. But the Raiders really haven't been able to run the football effectively kind of until like the past 2 weeks here. And the way that Sincere's running, you can really tell that he's doing a good job setting the tone, opening some things up for a guy like Aiden O'Connell, who I thought had a solid game. 23 of 35 for 340 yards, 2 touchdowns this past week against Kansas City. But to me, when you look at all the reasons why you got to roll with McCormick, to me, I'm going to give you some reasons coming up here of why I would continue to roll with Sincere. The first one is this. He has earned more work. If you're a 2-10 football team, and if you're trying to preach, we got to do the right things moving forward because we might want the Raiders to tank, and I know that some people do and do not, but there's nobody on that football team that wants the Raiders to lose games. So why not reward somebody that's going out there and showing you that he's running with the physicality that you want? He had 12 carries for 67 yards this past week. The week before that, he had 5 carries for 33 yards. And those numbers might not seem like that big of a deal to a lot of people that haven't watched a lot of Raiders games this season. But Sincere McCormick, I sincerely believe this, might be the best running back that we've seen this season for this football team. Now, I'm only looking at a sample size of running backs on the Raiders that have carried the ball 15 times. There are only 4 backs this season for Las Vegas to carry the ball at least 15 times. McCormick's averaging 5.7 yards per carry. Amir Abdullah this season's averaging 4.3. Alexander Mattison's averaging 3.3. And then Zamir White is averaging 2.8. I know it's a small sample size, but even in the small sample size that you've seen of the 17 carries and 97 yards, I mean, am I the only one that thinks it's crazy to say that Sincere McCormick deserves more touches? He deserves more work between the tackles. He deserves the opportunity to catch the football a little bit here. And I'm scared saying this because I think Sincere's got that chip on his shoulder right now, kind of like what Aiden O'Connell has out there, and those 2 dudes are scaring the hell out of me because I am Team Tag. But I'm also a Raider fan through and through, and Sincere McCormick has been a player that I've rooted for a bunch here on this show. So if you believe that he deserves more work, I want you to just pay him 28 down below. Let's go to another reason here of why, if I'm the Raiders, I'm rolling with McCormick for the rest of the season. McCormick is a SFA. How many of y'all are like, what did you just say to me right now? Well, if you're wondering what an SFA is, this is what it is according to the NFL. Any player who has either been released by their team or was not under contract the previous season, it's considered a street free agent. An SFA does not have to wait until the beginning of the league year in order to sign a contract, and they do not factor into the compensatory formula. Wow, comp formula. So for a guy like McCormick, the reason why I'm rolling with him is because his cap hit for this season is $288K. Think about NFL terms, $288,000, and I know that that's not a lot of money for this season, but the reason why you start him is because you might as well see what he's got from here on out. You could re-sign McCormick next season on an extremely cheap type of deal, like a $1.2 million deal for Sincere McCormick. would be an unbelievable deal. It'd be an unbelievable deal, I think, for almost anybody watching the show. NFL terms, it's cheap, but wouldn't you want to see what you got, and wouldn't you want to try to figure out a way to bring him back if you knew it was going to be cheap? Let's go to another reason here of why you got to roll with McCormick. Alexander Mattison and Amir Abdullah are both free agents this offseason. Could I make an argument that if Mattison and Abdullah are both healthy, like, could you get them working in this rotation a little bit? Yes, absolutely. But is Amir Abdullah at age 31 the future of the Raiders at the running back spot? No. Is Alexander Mattison at his current spot here the future of the Raiders? The answer to that is no. I don't know if Sincere McCormick is, but I'm kind of at the point where why not see what McCormick can be instead of just continuously seeing what Mattison, what Zamir, what Amir Abdullah can do? Because it's kind of like, would you rather see Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew? Yes, we have seen a small sample size of AOC, but at this point in the season, I'm like, you might as well see what Aiden's got because I already know what Gardner Minshew is. And then the final one is Zamir White and Dylan Laube, ain't it? And I'm excited for Laube, and I'm excited because the first time that he touched the ball since that fumble early on in the season was that really good kick return that he had. And when I say that he ain't it, I mean that he ain't it from a running back standpoint. So if you know that your top two running backs, Amir Abdullah and Alexander Mattison, are going to be free agents, the guy you drafted in the 6th round of Laube is probably never going to be a running back in the NFL. Maybe he's a special teams player at best. And then you got another guy like Zamir White, who you didn't draft a part of your regime, has been an absolute just really, really bad fit for you this season. So wouldn't you want to potentially draft a running back next offseason, sign somebody cheap, and I'm telling you this, if it's a 3rd down and goal, if it's a 1st down situation, biggest spot in the game, okay? If it comes down to it, I trust Sincere McCormick more than I trust Zamir White, more than I trust Dylan Laube. And for those reasons, I would want to bring back McCormick before I bring back those two dudes. So let's give McCormick the work this season. And seriously, if you're looking for honest opinions, takes, and analysis, I know that it's not easy to say that this player's not any good or I don't think that this player's a good fit. I also know that it's not easy to be able to put out content every single day. If you want an honest person who's bleeds silver and black, that's not afraid to tell you exactly what is on their mind, and you're going to disagree with me, I want you to disagree with me. That's what makes this show fun here. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. That way you never miss a thing. Let's go to the next story here. Brock Bowers is going to break Darren Waller's single-season record for most receptions in Raiders history. Waller had 107 catches back in 2020. I'm going to give you my answer on this in just a moment. But even though the Raiders stink, doesn't mean that you need to stink. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Mando. Heck, I smell so good right now that when you guys probably started watching the show, you're like, Mitch, is that Mando you're wearing? You know what? It is Mando that I'm wearing. I like using Mando because I sweat literally all the time, and because it's a full body deodorant, I can take it with me on the go. I can use it on my pits, my package, belly button, butt cracks, doesn't matter where. Mando's got me covered. Mando's starter pack is perfect. For new customers, it comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. Think of it like a mini body wash deodorant and free shipping. Also, special offer for our listeners. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates over 40% off your starter pack, so use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support the Raiders Report. Tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. One of my new favorite products that they have, and maybe you guys can see it, it's the new deodorant spray. And the reason why that I love this new deodorant spray is because I can use this under my arms, but I can also use it on my back. Like, I'm a back sweater. I'm not afraid to admit that. I am through and through. I also sweat on the underneath areas, and the fact that it's a new spray and you can, like, tilt it underneath, you can get down those in those hard-to-reach places. That's why I love Mando. It's also clinically proven, and it's going to be able to control your body odor for 72 hours. So seriously, control body odor anywhere on your body from head to toe. 360-degree spray, so you can get up in those hard-to-reach places. Again, control odor for 72 hours. I love the Raiders, but I know they stink. That's why I'm taking care of it with Mando. Let's go to the next one here. Brock Bowers. Is he going to break Darren Waller's single-season record? You bet your freaking ass he is. 4 just win, babies. Believe it, baby. Brock Bowers is going to do it. I'll admit, You go back and you look at what Darren Waller did over this final 4 or 5 weeks of the season, it's pretty incredible numbers. But what Bowers has done in his rookie season leading up to that point, I'm confident that he's going to be able to do it. Right now, Bowers has 84 catches this season. Waller had 107 back in 2020. And with 5 games left, Bowers is on pace for 119 catches this season. When you look at the Raiders' single-season reception leaders, Waller did it in 2020. Tim Brown had 104 catches. I mean, you're looking at only 5 players in Raiders history, technically only 4 players in Raiders history, because Devontae did it twice, that has had over 100 catches, and he's going to do it. I've also heard a lot of people out there go, well, Mitch, Darren Waller had only 16 games. Bowers is going to get the extra game at 17. You're not wrong. This is why I wanted to compare this. So in the first 12 games, okay, of the year when Waller was in 2020, Bowers in 2024, the targets are similar. The receptions are similar. Yards close. Touchdowns advantage Waller. Bowers had only 4 touchdowns this year. And then the first downs, 43 for Bowers, 46 for a guy like Darren Waller. But overall, you can see the numbers that Bowers is putting up, and they are pretty impressive numbers. There is no doubt about it. Like, yes, the target share is higher. The reception numbers are a little bit higher. But, like, who's had the better quarterback play? Who had the better offense overall? The better offense overall was an offense led by Derek Carr and the Oakland Raiders at the time. Oakland Raiders at the time, compared to Brock Bowers with Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, and Luke Getsy. But the other reason why that I'm confident that he's going to break it is because right now Bowers is playing his best football. Go figure. You get rid of Luke Getsy. You get somebody in there that actually knows what the hell they're doing, and good results are coming of it. Over the past 4 games, Bowers has seen 48 targets. He's brought in 32 catches for 349 yards and 3 touchdowns. This young man is starting to get it cooking, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do for the remainder of this season. But you know what? When Bowers is putting up these type of numbers here, I don't just think about this season. And I know that this question is way too early to ask, which is exactly why I'm going to ask it. Will Brock Bowers be the Raiders' best tight end ever? I'm talking the greatest tight end in Raiders history. Yes, no, let me know your thoughts. The only way that Brock Bowers is going to be the greatest tight end in the NFL or in Raiders history is if the Raiders win a Super Bowl. And I do think that some people might look at that and go, it's a little bit of an unfair thing to say, and people really only talk about it from the tight end or quarterback spot. He's going to put up numbers, and numbers are obviously very important. We know that. But when you really look at some of those old school teams, because the more and more you get into it, stats are going to change because the game is totally different. If you want to be considered the greatest tight end in Raiders history, to me, you got to win at least 1 ring. Because from a stat standpoint, I think Bowers is going to break every single tight end record the Raiders have, and maybe that the NFL has. Let's go to the final story here on the Raiders Report, sponsored by Mando. Should the Las Vegas Raiders re-sign K'Lavon Chaisson? I'm going to give this one 2 just win babies, and I'm going to say that people are talking. And I'm telling you this because I know for a fact that there are people inside of that Raiders organization that are talking about bringing back K'Lavon. And really what it's going to come down to is, what does the coaching staff look like for next season? Because K'Lavon is having a career year, which I know, not saying a lot, and he's going to be a free agent in 2025. But to me, if the Raiders plan on keeping Patrick Graham, if they plan on keeping Rob Leonard as 2 coaches on this staff, then to me, you also got to try to keep K'Lavon. If there was an opportunity where, you're going to change a whole bunch of different coaches and different moving parts are going to come in, maybe Chaisson isn't somebody that you would consider bringing back. But 2.5 sacks, that's a career year for a player that was drafted in very high in the draft out of LSU. A lot of expectations around him. He's always been a good athlete, but really hasn't been able to put it together. You go back and you look at a lot of things that I said when the Raiders went out and got K'Lavon. I was excited for it because I am a believer in our defensive coaching staff. I believe in Patrick Graham. I believe in Antonio Pierce and PG together, but I really, really believe in Rob Leonard. And this isn't the first example where you've seen a defensive lineman come in here and kind of figure it out, kind of get it rolling here a little bit, and that's because of this coaching staff. It's also because of a guy like Max Crosby. Because when your top dude is a guy like Crosby and the motor never shuts off and the work ethic needs to be put in there, it doesn't shock me that a dude like K'Lavon and Tyree Wilson are starting to put it together a little bit this week because they're going up against 98 and they're seeing the effort that 98 brings. And when 98's bringing it, you need to be able to match that same thing. So for K'Lavon, a dude that's starting to get better and better, had 1.5 sacks up against Kansas City, and a dude that's really starting to kind of grow into his own mold here, and he's been taking over reps over Janarius Robinson, a player that AP and the staff was really high on. I'm telling you this, K'Lavon Chaisson is somebody that needs to be considered. So before I get out of here again, should the Raiders make Sincere McCormick the RB1? Yes. Is Brock Bowers going to break Darren Waller's reception record? Yes. And should the Raiders consider re-signing K'Lavon Chaisson? Yes, if they bring back their current coaching staff. No, if they decide to go in a different direction.